Hello, dear students, and welcome back to the social science classes for class 8th. From this video lecture, we are going to start a new chapter, that is chapter number 12 of your history part. The chapter number 12 is India after independence. In the previous chapter, we had learned about the struggle of Indians to attain independence. Okay, and we are already knowing about this thing that India attained its independence on 15th August 1947 after a long struggle against the British rule. Okay, so let's have a look on this chapter, and we will learn about that what are the problems that India faced after independence in this chapter. Let's have a look that how India got independence. Independence and Mountbatten Plan. Lord Louis Mountbatten became the Viceroy of India in 1947, and he was the, we can say that he was the last Viceroy of British India. Lord Mountbatten had discussions with the Indian leaders, okay, and after that only, after listening the discussions or after the discussion, Mountbatten propounded its plan known as Mountbatten Plan, okay. That Mountbatten Plan was having the plan of dividing the country into two independent nations, that was India and Pakistan, as we have learned in the previous chapter about the demand of Pakistan by the leader of the Muslim League, Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Muhammad Ali Jinnah propounded the theory of two nation theory, and he explained that Hindu and Muslims are not merely two communities, okay, but they are culturally and racially different. That is why they are required an independent nations. So there should be one nation provided to the Muslim majorities, okay, that will be known as Pakistan. So the bill containing the Mountbatten Plan was introduced in the British House of Commons on 14 July 1947, and the bill that for which Indians were struggling for from many years. Finally, the bill was going to introduced on 14th July 1947. That bill was the India Independence Bill that became Act, okay, and known as India Independence Act of 1947. Let's have a look what was India Independence Act of 1947. According to this act, India became free from the British rule, okay, from 15th August 1947, as we are knowing that our India or we celebrate our Independence Day on 15th August 1947. India was partitioned into two independent dominions. Dominions means two independent countries, that is India and Pakistan. Both the countries would draw their own constitution. It was written on that India Independence Act that both the countries have to write their own, are free to write their own constitution. The princely states were given the choice to join India or Pakistan or continue as independent kingdom. So students will not believe when India was under the British rule, okay, when India became free at that time, India was having 562 princely states, okay. According to the India Independence Act, every princely state was given the freedom to choose either Pakistan or India, or also to be continued as an independent kingdom. The map of the world in 1947 demarcated the boundaries of both the countries. And finally, the map of the world of 1947 showed that India and Pakistan are divided now, and it showed two different nations. Okay, so let us learn about how India got independent. And we can say that Indians were having the pleasure of independence as well as they were having the sorrow of the partition, since India was divided into two nations now. Okay. In this chapter, we are going to learn about that what are the problems that India faced as a newly independent country. As we are knowing that when India and Pakistan was divided, the partition of India in August 1947 created two new independent nations, that is India and Pakistan. Pakistan was created out of the Muslim majority areas. The partition was also resulted in one of the greatest cross-border migrations in the history, in which 12.5 million people were displaced from their homes. As it was said that Pakistan will become a Muslim majority area, the people, those who are living in India, they started moving towards Pakistan. And since Pakistan, the leaders of Muslim League or the leaders of Pakistan told that Pakistan will be a Muslim majority area. So the Hindus, those who are living there, they started migrating towards the boundaries of India. Okay, So it was a greatest cross-border migration in the world history, in which approximately 12.5 million people were displaced from their homes. Millions of Hindus and Sikh had to leave their homes in Pakistan, okay? Pakistan, Punjab, Baluchistan, all those areas, and they were forced to migrate to India. Muslim families had to leave their homes in India and cross the newly formed borders to move to Pakistan. So, this was the condition when India got partitioned, or when the partition of the nation was taking place. Okay, partition was followed by looting, murder, okay, on both the sides. Many and many peoples were killed at that time. Million became homeless and many families were separated. Might be all of you have seen that movie Gadar. Okay, in that it was shown that how people were forced to leave their homes and to shift, okay, to Pakistan or to India. Okay, they were forced, and they have to leave their homes, and they have to move from that place to another. They are moving towards a place about which they were not knowing. Like if someone told you to leave your place, okay, to leave your home and go to somewhere else where you are not knowing anything, where you are not having your jobs, okay, so the people become homeless also as well as jobless also. Okay, so these all are the problems that India was facing at that time. And since Britishers ruled over us approximately 200 years, India was totally exploited at that time. So in this chapter we are going to learn about some of the basic problems that India faced and how India overcome it. Okay, so this was only the condition when the partition of India was going on and India was partitioned into two nations. So, what were the challenges faced by India after independence? That only we are going to learn in this chapter. Okay. So, firstly, we will see creation of the Union of India, how India become a country or a nation. Partition and the rehabilitation of refugees, as I have explained you, that India was partitioned into two nations. Okay. So, here we will also learn about that how the crisis of refugees were handled by the government of India. Democracy and development, how democracy was introduced in India, and what the people or what the government of India did for the development of economy. Reorganizations of states, as we are knowing that India is a federation of states and union territories. Okay, so we will also learn about that how these states are formed. Independent foreign policy, we will learn about as there was a time when Indians were easily ruled by a foreign country, a foreign power. Okay, now that is why there was a strong need to introduce a strong foreign policy. The non aligned movement, we will also learn about the non aligned movement, which was started by Jawaharlal Nehru. India and the UN peacekeeping, we will learn about India and the UN peacekeeping. We will learn about SARC, the South Asian organization it is. We will learn later about it. And we will also learn about India after 60 years of independence. We will learn that what are the things or challenges or the developments, okay, happened in India after the independence of India. So let's start this chapter, and in this part we are going to learn about the very first challenges, or what are the challenges that India faced. Okay, so after the as a newly independent nation, India faced various problems. The first problem was the problem of partition. As I have explained you, after the partition, approximately 8 million refugees had come to country. Okay, 8 million refugees. Now, who are the refugees? Refugees are the people. Okay, basically, refugees were the people, those who were sent or those who were migrated from Pakistan to India. 8 million refugees were there, and all of them were homeless as well as jobless. They had to leave behind their homes, their land, shops, and factories, as well as cattle and their hard earned assets. They were homeless, jobless, and had no money. Okay, so for tackling the problem of refugees in India, a ministry of rehabilitation was formed by the newly formed government. Now, what is the meaning of rehabilitation? Rehabilitation means providing the facilities, okay, to the people for starting their livelihood or for starting their life again, for resettling them, for providing them home, okay, for providing them education, for like providing them jobs so that they can start their life again. Refugees pouring in either side were put in refugee camps where they were provided food and shelter. it was a massive influx of the refugees. Okay, like any serious calamity took place now, like that only India was crowded by the people. Okay, at that time government was only having the option of establishing the temporary shelters. So that is why refugee camps were, okay, organized, so that people can accommodate to those places and food provided to the people. Okay, financial helps were provided to the people, okay, to the educational institutions also, so that those people can start their jobs again, can start their business again. Students, those who are coming from Pakistan, they can get schools to educate themselves. Okay, so like that only the Ministry of Rehabilitation was established, okay, that can work for the betterment of providing food, shelter to the people or to the refugees. Okay, the next problem that India faced was the integration of princely states. Now India wanted to become a union, a nation. Okay, but at that time, India was divided into 562 princely states. Now, what is the meaning of princely states? Princely states means India was under the rule of the princes or the rulers. At that time, also rulers were existing. Okay, so approximately 562 states were there, and since according to the India Independence Act, these states are free to join either Pakistan or India, or they wanted to continue free also. Okay, they can become, as they can also settle as an independent nation. So it was the biggest problem in front India, that how India or how the government of India will unite these 562 princely state into its. Okay, now the next question was about the political system. The government of India was having the major issue that which type of political structure should be adopted by India. Okay, lots of problems were there after the independence of India. The first of all, the making of the constitution was there. Okay, which type of government should be adopted by India, how to establish democracy, okay, how to establish equality, since India was facing lots of disturbance from so many years. There are lots of problems that India faced at that time. Let us learn each and every problem one by one. Refugees or after partition problem we have learned. Let us learn about the creation of the Union of India, how India became a Union of India, okay, a union of different states and union territories. So, in this, for uniting India or for uniting the states or the princely states in India, the credit goes to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. For that only, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel is also known as, or for that only, for he is credited for providing the unity in India. Okay, so according to the Indian Independence Act, the British left the 562 princely states free to join India or Pakistan or to remain independent. It was the personal choice of the rulers of those princely states. Okay, by the relentless efforts of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, many princely states convinced to join the Indian Union, but by the efforts of Dr. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, it was become possible that most of the princely states joined India. But the three states which posed as challenge, as their rulers did not agree to accede to India, were Junagadh, Hyderabad, Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, Junagadh wanted to concede with Pakistan. Okay, Jammu and Kashmir and Hyderabad wanted to remain independent after the partition. Also, we will see that how these states or these princely states were accommodated or accessed by India. Okay, Sardar Patel used both diplomacy and force to make them agree to accede to India, and hence he is called the Iron Man of India. So therefore, this only Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel is known as Iron Man of India. Let's move further and learn about that what was the solution or what was the process of accession of these 562 princely states. Many of princely states signed instrument of accession. Instrument of accession was this only, the written document on which it was written that they are happily joining India. Okay, and on that the sign of the government, Indian government, as well as the seal of the Indian government was there. It all happens after peaceful negotiations with the princes of states. Dr. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel talked to the rulers, okay, and he insisted the rulers or convinced the rulers to join India. Okay, so several negotiations took place. After that, only the instrument of accession signed. The states, those who have not agreed to join India, for that different methods were adopted. So Junagadh was a very small princely state in Gujarat, as you can see in the map. The people of Junagadh wanted to unite with India, but the Nawab of Junagadh wanted to join Pakistan. The people of Junagadh willingly happy to join India, okay, but the Nawab was willing to join Pakistan. In February 1948, after 1 year of independence, the people favored to join India and the Nawab fled to Pakistan. Election took place and the people of Junagadh voted, okay, in the favor of India. They wanted to join India, and the Nawab of Junagadh fled to Pakistan. He fled to Pakistan. Like that, only Junagadh came to into Indian Union. Next was the Hyderabad state. As we are knowing that Hyderabad was under the Nizams. Okay, Hyderabad was ruled at that time. Hyderabad was ruled under Nizam Mir Ali Usman, and he was one of the richest person of the world. He was considered as one of the richest person in the world. Nizam wanted to remain independent as they were very rich, okay, and they were very powerful. That is why they wanted to remain independent, and he was not ready to join neither India nor Pakistan. He had his own army consist of militants and razakars, okay, and they wanted to establish as independent nation as they were having strong army also, okay. Operation Polo had started by Government of India against Nizam. Initially, the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel tried to negotiate with the rulers of Hyderabad, but they were not ready. Later on, army help was taken by the Government of India, and Operation Polo was started against the Nizams of Hyderabad. Okay, with the help of army or with the help of force or power, Indian government overtook Hyderabad also. After 5 days of wars, Nizam's army surrendered and he signed instrument of accession. After 5 days of long war, Nizam was ready to sign on the instrument of accession, and like this only, Hyderabad was also acceded by the Indian government. Let's learn about Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir is known as heaven of earth, and today also it is a major problem of India. Okay, regarding Jammu and Kashmir, regarding the power of Jammu and Kashmir and access exceed of Jammu and Kashmir, that under whose control Jammu and Kashmir is there. Okay, so Lord Mountbatten advised Hari Singh ji to either sign on an accession with either India or Pakistan, but dropped the option to full sovereignty to Kashmir. Kashmir wanted to sovereign, that means it wanted to be independent. Okay, and the ruler of Kashmir, Hari Singh, was not ready to join neither India nor Pakistan. Pakistan, at that time, since Pakistan wanted to conquer Kashmir, Pakistan sent or started sending militant troops called Kabile in Kashmir to acquire it. Okay, Pakistan started using force to acquire Kashmir, and at that time only, military of Raja Hari Singh was too small in front of them. Military of Raja Hari Singh was not able to fight with the Pakistan, okay, army, and for that only. But at that time, when Kabile reached Baramulla place of Kashmir, they started robbing, raping, and murdering people in the city. India was ready to help only after he signed instrument of accession. Raja Hari Singh went to the government of India for asking for help against the army of Pakistan, and at that time the government of India was ready to help after only when Hari Singh signed the instrument of accession. Raja signed the instrument and India sent their military on next day in Jammu. Fight continues till 1949. And like this only, Raja Hari Singh also joined India. Okay, and this like this only Jammu and Kashmir acceded by India. Okay, so in January 1949, ceasefire held between India and Pakistan after the order of UN. That ceasefire line today known as LOC. The place where they fought with each other, India and Pakistan fought, that was only known as LOC. Area after LOC is known as Pak occupied Kashmir. Okay, and the area after LOC, line of control, that is only known as Pak occupied Kashmir. POK, we used to say it. Okay, so this was the condition that how these three princely states were accommodated by India. Later on, we will also see that that was the time when India was exploited by the Britishers approximately for 200 years. So it was a great demand like how India will get developed. Okay, and there was one more difference, one more problem was there, that that development, since India was a very large nation, the development should took place evenly. Okay, every sector or every section of the society should be developed. So division between different section of India to be healed. First of all, as we have learned in the previous chapters, that India was divided according to the caste system, according to the religion. There was a concept of higher and lower caste. The people of India was divided. So the first problem in front of the government of India was to heal the differences between, or the division between, the different societies of India. Okay, fruits of development should reach the broad masses. That means each and every section of India, that means North India, South India, East India, West India, every part of India should be well developed. Okay, how it can be achieved, how whole India can be developed. So let us, for that there was a need of a constitution. Okay, so that was the time when the making of the Indian constitution started. And as we are knowing that the constituent assembly was formed in December 1946. Okay, the constituent assembly was formed in the year 1946, and that constituent assembly worked for the making of the Indian constitution. That assembly had series of meetings on country's political future. As we are knowing that who is the chairman of the constituent assembly, Dr. Bhim Rao Ambedkar. Dr. Bhim Rao Ambedkar played an important role, okay, in the framing of the Indian constitution. And all these meetings resulted in the framing of the Indian constitution on 26 November 1949, which came into effect from January 26, 1950. Okay, now the Indian constitution was adopted, and it has various features that works in the development of the people of India as well as the economic development of India. So let us look upon some of the features of India. So first of all, India adopted the parliamentary democracy based on universal adult franchise. As we are knowing what is parliamentary form of government, what is democracy, okay, which was based on universal adult franchise. Okay, the Constitution of India adopted the parliamentary system of government, which was based on the concept of universal adult franchise. You are familiar about all these terms. All the Indians above the age of 21 would be allowed to vote in state and national elections. Okay, as we have learned about the independent nation of Pakistan, that the leaders of Muslim League asks for a nation that will be a Muslim majority nation. That means that state is based on religion and Pakistan is a Muslim country. Okay, like that only, the some people of India also claim that the political system of New India should be based on Hindu ideals or Hindu state. Okay, they wanted, like Pakistan is a Muslim majority area, like that only India should also be a Hindu state. But the leader of India, that is at that time the Prime Minister of India, Jawaharlal Nehru, said that India could not and must not become a Hindu Pakistan. Okay, India could not become a Hindu Pakistan. India should be a secular country. Secular means where the religion is separate from the politics. Okay, where India is does not follow any professional or does not follow any official religion. Okay, India, the political affairs of India should be separate from the religion, and from here only India become a secular country. Okay, so these two things we have learned about, that a parliamentary democracy based on universal adult franchise. That means in India, election will be given more importance, and according to this, all Indians above the age of 21 would be allowed to vote in state as well as national elections. India became a democracy in which the opinion of people plays an important role. Okay, India was the first country to grant the right to vote to all its citizens regardless of any discrimination. Okay, so in India, this voting right was given to every adult citizen, that is above 21. Later on, it was changed and it became 18 years. Okay, now let us see the next one, and it was the federal form of government. Now, India adopted the federal form of government. That means the government at two level, since India was a federation of several states and union territories. So it was also required that every state should be administered under a proper government. India believes in local government also. Okay, so that the development should take place or should start from the grassroots level. So India is having one national government or one central government that is responsible for the administration of the whole country, as well as India is also having the state's government that is responsible for the development of a particular state. Okay, so this is only federal form of government. That means India started following this form, the two level government. Okay, In a federal system, power is shared by a powerful central government and the state or local governments. Okay, states or provinces are given considerable self rule, usually through their own legislatures. In India, every state is having its own government, and they are free to form their own laws according to the need and requirement of the particular states. In a federal form of government, as we are knowing that the power is divided between a central government and states. A document, that is constitution, may describe the rights, responsibilities and duties of the central government and the state. The Indian constitution is having all the rights, responsibilities and duties embodied, okay, of every of the state government as well as central government. As we are knowing that in India, the central government is more powerful but does not have the ability to dissolve states or choose state leaders. Okay, for dissolving the legislature, for dissolving the government, the people are only given the right for this. Okay, the next one is, as we are knowing that the subjects are divided into three lists, that is union, state and concurrent list. Okay, so what is the union list? Union list has the subjects of national importance, okay, the rules or the laws on which only union government or the central government can make laws. Those subjects are regarding defense, banking, currency, foreign affair as well as communication. And now if we will talk about the state list has the subjects that are required for a particular state or state importance, okay. State government is having the right to make laws on those subjects like police, trade, commerce, agriculture, and irrigation. What is concurrent list? Concurrent list is the list in which the subjects or has common subjects, that is in interest of both state and central government. Okay, both state and central government can make laws on them. Like education is the subject of state also as well as of the central level also. Forest, trade union, marriage, adoption and succession are all considered under concurrent list. Let us move further and learn about the fundamental rights. In India, every people is having equal opportunity. Okay, the Indian constitution guarantees several fundamental rights to the citizens of India, like right of equality before law, right of equality of opportunity for any job or profession. We have already learned about these fundamental rights in civics part. Okay, the state would not discriminate against any citizens on ground of any discrimination. Okay, so this is only India adopted these kind of fundamental rights, okay, to the e- promote equality and social justice in country. Since India was facing discrimination, okay, India was facing untouchability, okay, and the concept of caste discrimination from a very long time. It was the time that India required a full fledged fundamental rights so that each and every citizen of India can get equality and social justice. Okay, so this was only at the time, and according to the constitution, untouchability was considered as an, okay, as a crime, and it is abolished, and its practice in any form is forbidden. It is a punishable offense now. Anyone found practicing untouchability will be punished. Like that only, the people, those who were marginalized sections, were also giving special privileges according to the constitution of India, so that they can also develop according to the mainstream society. Okay, so like that only, reservations are also provided to the minorities or to the marginalized sections in India, so that they can also develop. So like that only, equality is also maintained, and a lot of hard work put by the government of India, okay, to maintain equality in the nation. Nextly, Panchayati Raj system and governance at the grassroots was also introduced. Panchayati Raj system, that means the government of India believes that the development will start from the grassroots level, from the lowest unit of the society, and that was the village. Okay, so for that only, the Panchayati Raj system was also started. And as we are having union and state government, like that only, there is a provision of local government as well as at local government at city and town level, as well as the local government at village level. At village level or at lower levels, we are having Panchayati Raj system, that is having three tiers. We have already learned about it in class 6. Panchayati Raj, the three tier system of the local government, that is Zilla Parishad or Zilla Panchayat, block samitis and village panchayats. Okay, we are in which we are having Gram Sabha. Okay, And we are also having the concept of municipalities, that is municipal corporation in large cities or metropolitan cities. Later on we are having municipal councils, okay, in smaller towns. And we are having nagar panchayats, the places, those who are transitioning from villages to the cities. So like this only, for the development at a grassroots level, from the basic level, all these local self government bodies or the provision of panchayati raj was also introduced in India. Okay, so up to here I have explained you. This is all for the first part of this video. I hope all of you will watch the video and all of you are able to understood this. In the next part I will explain you about that how the states or different states are formed in India. We will also learn about that how states are formed on the basis of languages. We will learn about the foreign policy of India, okay, as well as the non-aligned movement and India and UN peacekeeping. Okay, so stay connected to the videos. Please watch this video, read your book properly, and ask your queries in your Zoom classes. Thank you, students.